All right. So, welcome to Jeremiah Creek.
I'm so glad to be here.
You know, the thing is, we have to start a new way because.
What do you mean?
One of the things we don't say, okay, this is Jeremiah Creek, formerly Beat Cops Guide. Thank you for joining us. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Will you please? We have no subscribers. And if you're watching this on the Beat Cops Guide channel, which I have been uploading, we're going to be kind of switching over to Jeremiah Creek. So look up Jeremiah Creek, subscribe to that. If you're listening on Apple iTunes, give us a 5-star review so other people see it. And so
Remember to compare us to Ira Glass as often as possible.
To Ira Glass. You know what the thing is?
This American Life.
If we're wearing these headphones, I can hear me very well and not you very well, and so it keeps making me think something wrong. So I think we should take that headphones off.
Man, I'm not taking my headphones off.
All right.
I'm already in position. Like, I can't move. If I move an inch forward, my back's going to go out. If I move an inch back, headphones are going to fly off my head.
All right.
I'm stuck here, man. I like finally being able to hear you, though.
All right, so I don't understand why you didn't just smoke a little weed since you're in
I can't smoke weed.
Why?
So you know how, like, people joke about how weed makes you paranoid?
Yeah.
It makes me exceedingly paranoid. Like, cosmologically level paranoid. Like, I think the gods are fucking with me type of paranoid. I think my wife's trying to murder me type of paranoid. It's very bad.
You
It's
may
not
know
funny.
this, but there is now, if you go to somebody now that weed is legal in Illinois.
Yeah.
Let me just preface by saying that we are in Illinois. Weed is legal. If you go to somebody's dispensary's websites, they have bud tenders. And you could say, oh, I want to avoid the paranoia feeling, and I want to avoid this feeling.
I'm so afraid. Because, like, the last time I did it, so here's the last time I did it, all right? I mean, I did it a little bit back in the 80s, but even in the 80s, I was like, I avoided it. And so, like, around, like, 2015, I think, I was hanging out with the chefs from Eating Bits at Price and all the crew from Eating Bits at Price, and the chef was well known. He smoked. He was high all day, every day, all right? And he spent all his money on his weed, so he had, like, the best weed on earth. And it was something called Girl Scout Cookie Barbie Doll Kush or Bubblegum Kush or something like that. I mean, it's such a weird name. And so he said, I got to go. Guys, send me any notes. We're like, cool. And he had this little one-hit thing in his pocket. He takes it out and goes, does anybody want to hit before we go? And I was like, I hadn't had anything to eat all day. I had been drinking wine because that's why we were together. We were testing the wine. And I was like, I'll take wine. And I'm the oldest guy there. Everybody looks at me like, what? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And I did this, Dave. This is how much I had. I went like that. That is it. Okay? That's all I had. A few minutes later, I was in the bathroom, like on the floor. I was throwing up, right? And I was high, like acid level high, okay? Higher than I've ever been, all right? I mean, just incredibly, like, outer space high. It was so weird. And I don't know who I am, and I don't know what's going on. I'm throwing up, and because I haven't had anything to eat, and I've had like 5 glasses of wine, it's all red. And so I think that I'm bleeding out, all right? And I'm in there forever, and my wife, people come knock on the door, and finally my wife, and I can hear them talking, but I can't hear everything they're saying. In my mind, what they're saying is, let's just let him go. Let's just let him die. It would be easier, right? And I hear my wife go, well, yeah. That's what I heard. It was the worst feeling ever, and it lasted for hours and hours and hours. It was so awful. They had to walk me down the stairs, like, in pairs, like one in front and one in the back, because it was a really steep stairway because they're afraid I was going to fall. You know, I tore a piece of my throat because I threw up so hard. I don't get high.
Wow.
Yeah, it's bad, and it's happened before.
Now I haven't done it since high school, but now that it's legal and I retired, I'm like, I'll give it a try. So
I would love to see you high, man.
My wife takes that CBD, the stuff that's not really that doesn't get you high,
Right.
and for some pain. You know,
How does that work?
she likes it. It doesn't mess with her head, and it just helps her with the pain. It's like you can go and you get. It's not really the kind of weed that gets you high. It's more CBD, I think.
Yeah. I almost know what that means.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but sorry, somebody's calling me. We're getting a lot of calls today.
Why? Is it your birthday?
Yeah.
Shit. It is your birthday, isn't it? Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah, this is my birthday.
Happy birthday, Dave. Oh, fucking hell, man. I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
I got you a gift. Here's this half-drinking cup of coffee for you. Christ and a half basket.
I don't really.
Oh, you loved that moment, man. You loved that, didn't you? That was. You're like, I'm getting a lot of calls. Fucker, man.
It's the first call I got. I got a lot of Facebook posts, but so I was like looking, and I'm like trying to do research because now I don't understand half this shit. It used to be, you know, when I was in high school, it was like you bought it from some guy who has it. You don't know what the hell it does, but
well, yeah.
Nowadays it's like legit. And so you have to do
I haven't had any legal weed.
So a few months ago I tried a gummy. I bought some of these gummies, and I ate one, and it just I didn't get up off the couch for hours. First of all, it lasted way too long. Second of all, it just made me dopey and just not want to move. So that,
I mean, isn't that...
The rest of those gummies are sitting in my nightstand drawer now.
It's called
dope. I don't know what the hell to do with them. Yeah.
Feed them to the dog. I mean,
so, no shit, right?
I mean, it's... Listen, if you guys are going to go out somewhere and you're worried, just give one to the dog. He'll sleep the whole time.
We actually have CBD for the dog when we take her, for 4th of July, fireworks drive her nuts.
Oh, yeah.
And so we got it from the vet. We got some CBD stuff. But so then I did a little research, and I'm like, okay, I want something that's not going to make me just lay around all day, and it's not going to make me paranoid, and it's not going to last long. So you got these little disposable. They look like cigarettes, but they're disposable things. And I wanted one I wanted to give me energy but relaxed.
Yeah.
So I tried that a few weeks ago. So my wife was going out with some friend to do some sewing thing, and so I'm like, I took one puff. All right, took one puff of this thing, and so she gets home and she's like, "So what'd you do?" And I'm like, "Well, I rearranged the pantry." She goes, "All the canned goods are in line. All the boxes.
Was it great? Was it great?
Well, the canned good part she was fine with, but I decided all the boxes should be on one shelf and all the cans should be on one shelf, and then bags and jars.
Oh no! You rearranged
so
her
like,
order.
You can't see past the first level of boxes. You can't see what's in the bag. And so I'm like, all right. So I just rearranged the entire pantry. You're gonna criticize me?
Oh my God!
Hey.
Oh hey Eric, let me move this.
So.
I can't see. I can't even.
So that's my one experiment.
Fuck it all.
All right. So,
Well, I was in a dispensary the other day.
really?
Yeah, it literally less than a week ago. I was in a dispensary because I got a family member who's kind of down and in incredible pain. And I was like, what can I do for it? And he was like, would you mind going to the dispensary for me? And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll go. So I went to the one that's right up here on Tui. And it was awesome. It was an incredible retail experience. Like, this place could learn a lot from them.
There's one on Tui?
Yeah, it's right up there. I think it's before the highway.
Huh, I never knew that.
Might be after the highway. Yeah, it's after the highway because it's across the street from the Greek restaurant, Sistis Stereo or whatever. And it is a really, really nice place, and the staff was incredible. And I went in and got all the things I need, but they were ready, man, to curate my experience. All right. The only problem I had is I really hated the music they were playing. Because, I mean, it was Beastie Boys, which is great.
I love the Beastie Boys.
I love the Beastie Boys, too, but that's the wrong time to play it, all right? You need to play relaxed, chill music in a place that sells pot. But they have everything there. They have everything. All kinds of crazy weirdo shit, And he's like, well, this one, I bought one for Marty. He goes, are you sure about that? Because he thinks it's for me. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? He goes, listen. He goes, this is really strong. And he gave me all these numbers listed on it. I didn't understand any of this stuff. By the way, the brand is called For Show. For Show. And he goes, so, you this is one of the ones where you really can't drive or anything like that. He goes, you're going to need to sit down. He goes, also, take a little at a time. Explore your limits with this stuff because you want to be careful. And I was like, yeah, but you know what? I mean, maybe I could go in there and talk to these guys and tell them my problem and tell them that the worst thing about it is I get insanely, cosmic level paranoid. And I think everyone's trying to kill me, and I think that I'm going to die.
But you're never going to know because everything is different for every person. So.
Yeah, no.
I just, since I retired, I tried it a couple times. I don't think it's for me. I have these things. I don't know what I'll do with them. Because my wife's not interested in that stuff because she doesn't.
Yeah.
She's only interested in the stuff that you don't feel, but it kind of takes away your pain away.
Well, I would love to have pain taken away right now because
fishing trip's coming up. Maybe I'll just bring it with me on the fishing trip and get rid of it.
You should just leave them out somewhere, like in a candy dish.
Maybe I can get my dad to try it.
You know what would happen if he did that, right?
Watch a lot of fish.
4 days of dishwashing. He would go to every trailer, every campsite. He'd go and wash all their dishes. I never seen anybody wash dishes as much. I didn't know where the dishes came from. What dishes were he washing?
I don't know.
Yeah, it was.
How he relaxes. I don't know.
You got to give him credit. It's pretty fucking zen, man.
What was I going to say? There was something else I was going to say about that.
So we're gonna have to share a microphone.
Oh, okay.
I should probably.
Do you have a cord and everything?
Yeah.
Oh, I love this guy. He's so prepared.
I couldn't find
What's that other thing you got over there? Oh, that's like a cigar
Yeah, it's a
holder thing. It's a good cigar. It's Macanudo.
Although I don't know if we can add the. Well, we can try. Let me plug it in and see if we can add it.
This fucking.
So, I do have some topics, so.
You were just going to spend the whole time talking about me not getting high. All right. We were just discussing how I can't smoke marijuana.
Why not?
And I mean, you can listen to the show. Right now, I'm fascinated with all this stuff you got going on.
You know,
I think he was asking him a question.
it's a USB. So, what else was Oh, I went and saw Fiddler on the Roof at the Drury Lane Theater.
Oh, cool.
Have you ever been to the Drury Lane Theater?
My wife used to take me all the time. Now I won't go.
Why?
It just reminds me of my inevitable future.
That's weird.
It's nothing but people that are like a minute away from dying.
You mean the play, Fiddler on the Roof, or Drury Lane Theater?
No, Drury Lane Theater. The audience is just people that are just basically biding their time until they pass away. It's the oldest people on earth. And then the line to the bathroom is 400,000 people long, and each one of them takes 8 minutes to take a pee. It's like, forget it, I'm not going.
It wasn't that way when I was there, but I will tell
Must
you.
have been on a young day.
Yeah, it must have been. It was a lot of fun. I did not like the staging of the Fiddler on the Roof. They used no props. You know.
The theater in the round.
Well, no, it was on a stage. It wasn't.
Wow, hear that? Is that his microphone?
I don't know.
Say some words.
Can you guys hear me?
I can't hear him. That doesn't mean it's not working. What is this?
Oh, it's like a neural thing. I'll tell you later.
All right, so yeah, you're on.
Okay. Cool.
Amazing. Should I?
Well, your wife?
Yeah.
Probably calling and wishing me happy birthday.
Just coming from work. Hey, how you doing?
All right, so anyway, so
I'm
it
here
was,
with Dave and Eric
okay,
Diamond.
So Fiddler on the Roof, and one of the reasons we went, I mean, my wife and I love Fiddler on the Roof.
No, just
But
I already answered the
one
phone,
of the reasons
so
we went was one of the kids that was with my daughters, and went to a theater school. My
Okay.
youngest was finishing up their last semester there.
nothing I can
But
think of.
there was this kid who was
Loved it. Hey, did you have a good time last night?
obviously
I saw a
gonna be
great
something,
picture of
you know,
you.
you
I saw a
get all
great
these
picture of
kids-
you. Lizelle sent me a great
you put
picture and
these
said
kids
that
in
you're a
these theater
cutie.
schools, not so much so that they can be actors and actresses, so
Yeah.
that they can be able to stand up and talk in front of people and kind of overcome that
All right, I'm
public
gonna go.
speaking thing that I always want to do. But the fact is that you come across these kids who
Hey,
have so much talent that they're standout.
I don't know what's
It's
going on
all-
right now. Yeah, I am gonna go though.
We gotta put this back here.
Yeah, I'm here, but I gotta go.
Put that ashtray with.
That was important.
There we go.
Just to let you guys know, I am getting an order from Walmart this late afternoon.
This is Eric Diamond who's joining us. But
Neil Diamond's third nephew.
One of the reasons we went to see this play was because one of the kids who was in the theater school, or my daughter's school, was in a real play. He's been on TV. He's obviously going to become an actor. He has so much talent. And,
Fucker.
I didn't like the way they were staging it, and I was like, when I saw this done by the theater school, I enjoyed it more. The acting was fine. All the actors, with one or two exceptions, were really good. Actually, the one thing that really struck me was the girl who plays Seidel, who was fine, except she didn't move her arms correctly for some reason. It didn't seem to move in the way you were talking. She was kind of held
Like
on the
nervous?
side. Maybe, I don't know. That
Do you think it was an acting choice?
I don't know, but I also think that her makeup was done so strange, and I wondered if these low cost. I mean, Drury Lane is a professional theater, so
Well, okay, but that doesn't mean that the people that book it to run a play are professionals.
right. And so I wondered how they do their makeup. I mean, I wonder, do they do their own?
Probably
Do they
did
have
it
a makeup
themselves.
person? I don't know how they do it, but
Wait a minute. So it was a theater around. There wasn't a roof.
No, Theater on the Round has a roof. It just doesn't. Usually, it's done in the middle.
No. I mean, like, on the stage, it didn't have a prop of a roof for the fiddler to be on. What did he fiddle on?
there
Just
was
fiddler on the floor.
you couldn't see the fiddler on the roof. It was just the guy looking off as the music
It was
played.
the implied fiddler on
It was implied, yeah.
That's
And
terrible.
really,
That's way too philosophical for that play.
the only props they had was
Please
looked
say
like
fiddle.
a barn. That was the other thing that ticked me off, but we'll get to that later. The only prop that they had was a barn or an old building facade. And then everything else, like they had some stuff that was like they didn't have a horse and carriage that at the beginning when they start singing tradition where he's pulling his horse and carriage. They had a video on one side of a old cart.
This is
horse and cart.
stupid, and I disagree.
Yeah. It was all done just the actors implying everything. You know, like at one point they drop a book and the young girl's supposed to pick it up. Well, there's no book. They just say, "Hey, you dropped a book." Oh, it's fine. You know, stuff like that. So that kind of annoyed me a little bit. Oh, getting back to the makeup. This girl had very high sloping cheekbones, which was fine, except her hair was done in such a way that there was sort of like a swirl, and it matched the line of the cheekbones, which kind of drew it out to an almost alien look.
I wonder if they did that to hide the mic.
No, they were all wearing mics. You can see the mics on all of them. They were all wearing mics, and so yeah, that was a strange thing, and I don't know if that was accidental. I think that was accidental because everybody else looked fine. It was the way her hair was done that looked strange, and
Was her part important?
she was the oldest daughter. So she was the daughter that was in the most parts. But other than that, the acting was fine. I didn't like the staging. I didn't like the props. The fiddle, okay. So at the end, let me tell you this. So at the end, where they have
It's an H2 headline right there. The fiddle, okay.
the fiddler on the roof in the beginning was just Tevye just talking about it. You can hear the music, and he's looking off stage and talking about the guy on the roof. And then at the end, where the last little fiddler thing, after they give their last line of the fiddler thing, the stage goes dark, and out of the floor rises a stand with a fiddle on it while the music's playing, with nobody playing the fiddle. Just it was. I thought of all the stuff that was in that was the dumbest thing that they did. I mean, they might as well just imply that there was a fiddler on the roof somewhere instead of having just a fiddle on a stand pop up out of.
And the music's playing behind, like recorded music's playing behind it.
Yeah.
That is, I'm agreeing with you. I don't what I see in my mind. I don't like it.
Yeah. So it was
A little too modern.
I really didn't mean to.
Did
give
it
a
imply
review.
that like the fiddler like left for America or something, or
Well, yeah, or died. I don't know what the hell they were, or the fiddler did not hold his position on the roof. I don't know.
he was fired for being Jewish?
The fiddler fell off the roof.
Yeah, yours is. So
This show's all about safety.
but it was nice. It was. I mean, it was. The acting was good, so it was worth it. The music.
I want to see the OSHA production of Fiddler on the Roof. It's all yellow tape everywhere.
But anyway, I told you that story. I told you that story.
When the guy's pulling the cart, like, you're going to need to have a weight belt, and you're going to need to have a team of people behind you for safety.
You had a union version.
Yeah, it's a graphic novel we got to do.
But I told you that story to tell you this story. So we're sitting in the intermission. We're sitting and talking, and I was talking about other plays we had seen at Drury Lane, because I've gone to Drury Lane a few times in my life.
Okay, I didn't know you were a Drury Lane guy.
I've gone a few times, but one time we saw Beaches, and
My wife saw that one.
and Drury Lane has this thing. When you buy a ticket, you can add on dinner or whatever
Yeah.
at the restaurant. And when we went and saw Beaches, we went to the brunch and then saw Beaches, and it was one of the best brunches I've ever did. Everything. It was expensive though, but
Yeah.
but it was a great brunch, and then we saw Beaches, and it was funny. I went with at the time my assistant Abby and a couple of guys that work with us, and our wives or significant others, and the one guy Kevin Finnegan, who I think you've met.
No.
Oh, anyway, he's an old policeman. You can imagine with the sense of humor of a policeman, dark sense of humor, you know.
Hold up. Did you just see that commercial on that TV?
No. What was it?
I don't mean to interrupt you, Dave. I'm sorry, but there was a commercial for like a space-age toilet on the TV.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, I am definitely hallucinating.
A space age toilet? What made it space age?
It was square and black and had lights.
Yeah, I've seen those on This Old House. Those are like $9,000 toilets.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Dave. I apologize. It's the first time I've seen it. It was unidentified toilet object that I just saw right there. An unidentified flushing. It was a UFO, is what I saw. So
Unidentified flushing
A
object.
UFD, unidentified flushing device.
that's what it was. Yeah. Well, my wife would love to know that you guys go to Drury Lane because she loves to go, and I hate going.
Well, I was going to tell you this too. When we were sitting at Beaches, like I look over and my wife's in tears, and our friend Abby is in tears, and I turn over to nudge to Kevin, and I look at Kevin sobbing, and it reminded me of Benjamin Buttons, where you broke down in the middle of the movie.
Yeah, because I'm an emotional man, and
funny.
it's not. What do you mean it's funny?
But the thing is too is while we were
Dave,
sitting
it's
there talking-
okay. Dave, it's all right. It's not your fault. It's okay.
I have no feelings. I said we saw Oklahoma here too. You know, we were talking about
Cried during
plays.
Oklahoma.
We talked about plays that we had seen. And I said I saw Oklahoma here too, and she goes, "I've never seen Oklahoma." And we did. We saw it here. She goes, "I think you were here with somebody else," and I'm like, "No,
Your other wife.
Who did you date long enough to go to a play with?
yeah, no shit, right? That's
Yeah,
like
that's like a 14th
serious-
date.
yeah.
That's like you've already slept together and you
I'm like,
farted in
no,
bed together. And
I said, "No, I've seen it since. I'm pretty sure since we were married. Maybe when we were married. I'm sure you were here with me." And
I love the way But you're
I
not.
saw Jesus Christ Superstar there.
Really?
Yeah. It was weird. It was sort of like a Green Day version.
I mean, it is a Green Day version.
No, I mean like the band Green Day.
It's that's my wife's second favorite. That's her favorite musical is Jesus Christ Superstar. We saw it at the Lyric, and it was. I have to admit, it was unbelievably good. I couldn't believe how fucking good it was. It was fantastic.
I think it's a funny musical.
The worst.
Jesus is so cranky.
Don't you think Jesus would have been cranky?
Well, he knows what's coming. You know, it's got a way on your mind.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, but like all the insults, you know, like I don't know.
The
Like every
worst-
time he goes into town, they're like, "Oh, here's Christ. We're gonna fuck with him now." And he's got to be like, "This again?" They're like, "Hey, we got like 14 people for you to heal." He's like, "I just want to get a sandwich and like rest. I've been walking in the desert for like 2 weeks with all these fuckers that never take a bath. Can I just sit down for a minute?"
There was the worst play I've ever seen was Starlight Express. Have you ever seen this?
No, but I love the name.
Roller
it's like
skating, roller skating on stage.
And
It was,
they play like trains.
yeah,
The
yeah.
cast is
How
like,
the
yeah.
fuck
It was
is
stupid.
that not full of disaster?
I remember reading a review of that, and they said that Andrew Lloyd Webber was great, but he will write a musical about a deck of playing cards. Like his musicals are just when he was with Tim Rice, they were good, and then he broke up, and I haven't liked really anything that
He's a trend follower, man.
I remember seeing the Book of Mormon,
I still haven't seen that.
and
love that.
it was they go after everybody, and I mean, so you start to get uncomfortable because we're told that misogyny and racism and stuff is bad, and they would make racist jokes. They would
Oh
make
yeah, they're terrible.
female jokes. They would make a whole bunch of jokes, and it was uncomfortable until you realize. First of all, you're surrounded by a diverse group of people who are all laughing, and second of all, they go after everybody. So it's not like they're only going after one group. And but like,
My
the
favorite
Kevin
there was that
Finnegan-
one song where they talk about temptation. Like
I don't remember the songs too much.
yeah, so there's a song where like they're about to go on their mission, and they talk about they're being warned about the temptations that are out there, and there there's like these sort of satanic devil go-go dancers dancing on giant Starbucks cups.
Wow.
So that was, like,
Wow, that's a big fuck you to like 14 different niches right there, man.
Well, the same guy that Kevin, he went and saw it with his then girlfriend or maybe wife, I don't know, at the time, and what he told me that when after he saw it, because I told him, "Hey, it's a good play." I saw it. He goes, I got up at the intermission and I said, "You guys are all sick," and I walked out. And I'm like, I thought he was joking. I'm like, "Get the fuck out!" He's like, "No," he goes, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that these people were laughing at this shit. I walked out, and I'm like, "Are you serious? You make jokes about everything." He goes, "Yeah, but I don't make jokes about people." And it was like, and yeah, he was really offended by it. I was really shocked. The guy who's not offended by anything. I don't know what pranks I played,
Can we segue from that? What you just said? When was the last time you played a good prank?
well, it was on that guy. The last good prank. I mean, real good prank I played. Yeah.
What was that?
All right. Well, this was at a time when I was in the charge of equipment and supply in the police department, and I had learned something that I didn't know, that tampons came in different sizes. And I happened to mention to him, I said,
Obviously, this is well before your daughters were of age.
well, the police department is required to supply females who are arrested with female hygiene products.
Sure.
So we have to buy those. We have to have them in all the lockups. You have to be prepared for stuff like that. And so I made this comment to the guy. I was like, I had no idea that they came in different sizes. Do we order them in different sizes? And he goes, no. And I'm like, all right, well, we just had a meeting about it, and the deputy chief wants to know, what are the different sizes, and are we ordering different sizes, and do we need to order different sizes? So he's like, well, what do you want me to do? I said, he was in charge of actually doing contracts.
Size them.
I said, well, I don't know. Go find the ones we have, and go find a sample of each size.
Stop right now.
Bring him to the deputy chief's office.
Stop right now. Did it ever occur to you guys to ask one of the women?
Yeah. Well, it occurred to him.
Okay. Thank God.
Well, no.
Oh. So this is getting worse.
So this is just, so I said this, and I said it as a joke, figuring that I would, tell him later on it was a joke. Well, what he did was he went and started asking the women in the office. Our offices were different.
With a clipboard and a pen. What size tampon do you
He
use?
He thought when I said this that I was screwing with him. He figured out right away that I was joking. Until he went and started talking to women around the office and going, "Do you believe what this guy just asked?" And they all told, "Yeah, they're different. Of course, they're different sizes. Why would you think they weren't different sizes?" And he started thinking, okay, now at this point, other people that he had asked then told somebody else about him asking and stuff like that. And so then people started coming up to him and talking about tampons. And he started believing that this was some real issue that was going around police headquarters and stuff like that. So he thought, at that point, he started thinking, well, maybe he was serious. He went out and collected samples of all the different types of tampons and walked into the deputy chief's office with a handful of tampons.
Like a bouquet? Like a bouquet?
Exactly
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And
Oh,
the
but
deputy
wait,
chief-
where's the prank?
Well, the deputy chief wasn't there. Well, the prank was for him to bring a bunch of tampons to the deputy chief's office.
Oh my
Who
God,
had
Dave.
no idea any of this stuff was going on.
Oh my
And
God.
wasn't real. He had retired after 30 years on the police department and then became a deputy chief, a civilian. He was in his 60s and had, no time for pranks. And so he walks into the deputy chief's office with a bunch of tampons and leaves them. And the deputy
Were the little tails hanging out down the bottom?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
God,
he
that's
comes-
priceless.
He comes back down to the office and goes, "Yeah, I dropped him off at the deputy chief's office." And everybody in the office looks at him and starts laughing. It's like,
Oh my God. That is, Dave, I take my hat off to you. I'm not actually going to take my hat off, but
but the best pranks are the ones where you just set the ball rolling. And the reason why it went because he was getting feedback from people he never talked to because they were hearing it like a game of telephone, and he thought that maybe this is serious.
man, he was this close to getting a nickname.
Yeah.
Like Tampon Tom or some shit, the tampon guy.
His name is Kevin. You can't really.
Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't really.
Kevin can fit in any.
Cooch Rocket Kevin, maybe.
Extra absorbent Kevin.
That was the last.
Damn, man.
Heavy flow Kevin.
Oh, fuck, man.
No, my wife.
That's
did
his
an
rap
April-
name right there. Heavy Flow Kevin.
My wife did an April Fool's Day thing on me that escalated. Like she had planned based on what I do in the mornings when I get up. Like I go make a cup of coffee, So she made sure that she hooked the sink sprayer up so that it was pointed straight out and taped the handle so that it would go on. And she dumped all the water out of the coffee so that I would turn on the faucet to fill up the coffee thing, and the sprayer went right in me.
That's not bad. I have respect that you have a wife that pranks you, man.
Oh yeah, and there were several other things sort of leading up to it. It basically was everything that I would normally do first thing in the morning
Oh, wow.
was pranked in.
Wow. I can't prank my wife. She has no sense of humor.
I stopped doing them after mine backfired terribly on my son.
Oh.
What? How did-
So we were. It was April Fool's Day, and my son was probably like 10, 11, and I said to him, "Hey, I've been talking with your mom, and we've decided that we're gonna try out Christianity just for like a
Oh,
week,
fucking shit.
just to see if we like it."
Fucking shit, man.
And he like his face just fell, and he got really upset, and he started crying. He's
Oh,
like, "I don't
wow.
wanna be Christian." And
Oh,
I'm like,
wow.
and I just like, I felt terrible because he was taking it really seriously, and at the same time, I was so proud of him, because he's got this strong Jewish identity, and I'm like, every parent wants that. So I felt horrible. Like, no, it's April Fool's. I'm kidding.
You missed the first rule of pranks, though. What you got to do is you got to escalate it until it gets so ridiculous that they either figure out that it's a prank, or
Oh, I know, but
they feel stupid for not figuring
Yeah,
it out.
but the problem is that if you're not capable of like seeing, there's a thing called I'm gonna get it wrong, Doyle's law.
Let's just go with that. No one's
But
going
anyway,
to look it up.
yeah, it basically says that without any kind of marker like an emoji or something, it online it's impossible to tell whether something's real or fake.
Oh.
Like there has to be some kind of because I mean there's a whole subreddit called Not the Onion, which has like headlines that like you'd swear the Onion wrote, and
Yeah, it's hard to prank people online. I mean, I just wrote an article about that movie Roadhouse, and I wrote it as a joke, and the headline is Conor McGregor's nuanced performance in Roadhouse gives me hope for humanity.
I have to say that made me go look up Roadhouse and start watching it.
Oh, did it really?
And I was like, there's no freaking way. I mean, I did figure out halfway through the article that you were being ironic, but
Thank you.
I was like, how the hell did he think that how can Conor McGregor be a good actor?
He was so awful.
First of all, I was not, I have to say, I was not going to watch Roadhouse. I was a big fan of the original Roadhouse. It's still one of those movies when you're just flipping through the TV on a Saturday afternoon. If I see it, I'll turn it on. I don't know why I like it so much because it's not that great of a movie, but to me it's a story that I could watch. But I was not going to watch Roadhouse.
And you should not have.
Until I read your. Did you actually watch it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And you didn't like it?
I hated every second of it. But I finished it. I'm not a fucking quitter.
is this a remake?
Yeah, with Jake, I can't act out of a wet paper sack Gyllenhaal, paired with I'm never going to act at all, Conor McGregor. But here, look at my naked ass for 4.5 minutes straight.
The thing about Jake Gyllenhaal is he's a terrible actor. However, because he's a terrible actor, he doesn't act. He just stands there, at least to me. Whenever I watch him, I'm like, he seems like a guy I would like because he seems like he's like Al Pacino. Al Pacino, okay, this is going to be heretical to some people, is not an actor. He just stands there and does Al Pacino.
That's kind of true.
And
although he was not terrible in Godfather.
No, but that was when he was really trying.
But like The Scent of a Woman, maybe one of the stupidest movies ever made. Yeah, he was just screaming the entire time.
So Jake Gyllenhaal seems to be like that. He just stands there and is Jake Gyllenhaal
with a psychopathic smile all the time.
Yeah, but,
like I might murder somebody.
It reminds me the other guy who does Deadpool too.
Oh,
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. All right, don't you fucking besmirch Ryan Reynolds, man.
He seems like the same thing. He does the same act, the same.
Well, at least he's funny.
Well, but
he's funny though.
But that's often a function of the studios and the way that they cast, right? So like there's a bunch of really great actors, like Bill Nye, like one of my favorite actors.
Fantastic guy.
He just like he's Bill Nye. I mean, like or Christopher Walken, right? Great actor, but like. He can't do anything except Christopher Walken. And so people cast him in roles like that, where he's like, like
the real actors are the character actors.
Timothy Spall.
The thing is, I don't know if you've ever seen
Benedict
Christopher Walken
Wong.
Dance, right?
Yes.
Benedict Wong is a great actor. He's a guy who's he's Chinese. I mean, for Christ's sake, he hardly has any expressions yet. Like in Three Body Problem, he's playing that detective.
Loving that show, man.
In Doctor Strange, he plays a goofy, assistant. It's like you.
You really have to
He's
curate
a
your
really
career.
good actor. Charles Durning was a fantastic actor too.
I can't believe you know all those people's names. The
And
only
a
character.
war hero.
Charles Durning?
Yeah.
No shit. I
No
don't
shit.
know.
He was a war hero.
I love character actors.
I feel that's my personal my look. I have a character actor look. That's what, especially if I let my eyebrows really grow out. I look like one of those like third level English background guys,
I was gonna say,
like a
I was
failed
gonna say
butler.
Russian dictator.
You know who some of the best actors are though? At least to me,
Porn guys?
are comedy guys when they act in serious movies.
Oh, like Tig Notaro.
or Bill Murray or
Yeah.
Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler, when he's in a funny movie, is
Awful.
nothing. He's just
Yeah.
Adam Sandler.
And then you see him be serious, and you're like, what the fuck? Why don't you do this all the time?
Right.
Yeah,
know-
that's
you know,
alluded to
You know,
in.
was the guy who did that was Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks went from being a comedian to
Oh, yeah.
a serious actor.
In Marvelous Miss Maisel, there's this story arc where she gets hired by this famous woman comedian who is her comedy act is ludicrous and awful and bad, and she's got like this one line like "put that on your plate," you know, it's really stupid. But in real life, she's like an incredibly accomplished like actor researcher. Like she knows all about acting and everything, and she wants to change careers and become a serious actor. And so they go, okay, let's do this. And it turns out she's really, 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 really good at it. Like people run out of the room crying because she's so good, but she's super self-aware and timid and afraid of failing, right? Yeah. And when she finally gets on stage, and everyone's like, "This is going to be a world triumph. You are going to be lauded as the greatest actor that's ever lived." The actor that she's working with bumps a chair on stage, and it wrecks her completely. Like she loses everything, and she hesitates for a minute, and she realizes everyone realizes she's hesitate, and she just drops into her comedy stick and ruins everything, and doesn't do it. And I forgot why I was telling that story. Oh, because it alludes to the fact that comedians are really good as dramatic actors because a comedian can inhabit a role in a different way than a straight actor does. They are already used to really get an emotional response from people. This is what I do when I sell myself to business people as a humorist writer. They're like, why should we hire a humorist? We're a business magazine. I'm like, here's the way this works.
Because business people don't like to laugh.
Well, it's not just that. I mean, I don't have to write stuff that's funny. But the fact that I know how to reach people through humor means I know how to reach people in full stop right there. I know how to reach people. So I'm able to write stuff that that cuts through the usual bullshit and has like a flavor and a voice and a little bit of life in it. Whereas people that are just writing straight business stories, most of those are just brain drainingly boring.
They're like textbooks.
Yeah, they're awful, and then I come in and I write something and there's just it's like if you get a really accomplished jazz drummer to play in a metal band, that's going to be some fucking good. That's why the Rolling Stones are great, because whatever that dude's name was a goddamn accomplished jazz drummer.
Yeah.
What was
Charlie
his name?
Watts.
Charlie Watts was a fucking accomplished jazz drummer.
Yeah.
Look at all the songs from the 60s that were by that group, the Wrecking Ball, or the Wrecking Crew.
The Wrecking Crew.
Right? These people that were session musicians and were like doctorate level accomplished musicians. They could play Bach with their eyes closed. And they're playing like Beach Boys songs. The reason the Beach Boys songs are so good is because the musicians were unfucking believably good at what they do. And then they're playing a song that doesn't require all of their talent, which means that they can inhabit all the necessary talent for that song 110%.
Yeah, I think it depends. Like I think about serious actors who do comedy and are great at it. Like Meryl Streep, funny as hell. Robert De Niro in Dirty Grandpa was hilarious. Like I did not expect to like that movie. And
What?
It's called Dirty Grandpa. He plays. I think he's with. I'm trying to remember who plays his son, but like Aubrey Plaza's in it.
She's a wonderful human.
But the whole conceit is that they have to go across country for some reason, and
Like Olivia Colman. Olivia Colman's a comedian, and so in England, her career started off in if you go way back and look at some of the shows, it's all comedy, and then she comes and plays the Queen of England with gout, and it's like holy shit, and she blows it out.
Yeah, no, I don't know her. Now, are these young actors?
no, Olivia Colman's in her, I'd say 50s.
You know any young
Maybe.
actors that you think are going to fit in that?
Well, I think Jennifer Lawrence still has an opportunity, but I think she just keeps getting cast in shit. But I think she's a really very authentic person.
It's funny though. It seems like most of the serious actors that we're talking about that were not comedians, but straight up serious actors are women. The men don't seem.
I think John Hamm is a
Robert De Niro, you said, but
That's not true. I think like Henry Cavill is very good.
yeah.
yeah.
Mark Ruffalo, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
But let's take a pause and let's talk about the greightest current actor out there, and that is Martin Sheen. Not Martin Sheen, sorry, Michael Sheen. From Good Omens and Twilight and all those. He's a Welsh actor. You watch his YouTube videos where he does Shakespeare. You'll fucking stand up and clap. He is incredible. And Michael Sheen, oh my God, I adore that man. I adore that man so much. And then the guy that plays is playing Ripley now. What's his name? Michael Scott. He was in Sherlock Holmes as the bad guy.
Oh, yeah.
And
John Krasinski? I think
No. Oh, you think John Krasinski is? Yeah, you know, I got a problem with John Krasinski.
I think he was great. I think he was
He's got a punchable face.
Well, okay, but Emily Blunt.
Oh, fucking
Hilarious,
she is.
and she's
she's hilarious.
Totally do serious roles. She was great in Oppenheimer.
Yeah, and I haven't watched.
Wait, what was she in Oppenheimer?
She was the wife.
She was the wife.
Yeah. And she was in the English. Wasn't she in the English? Is that her?
The English?
That TV show, The English?
I don't know. I didn't see it.
She is fantastic. She was in Sicario, which I still haven't watched.
Yeah,
Apparently
she was great
Sicario
in
is a much better movie than I thought it was. I kind of brushed it off as like, meh, whatever. And apparently it is cinematic gold. Are we going too long in a subject? Should we talk about something else?
Yeah, so I'm looking for... I had a couple of...
Well, we could talk about the bridge that fell down.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about that.
Do you know that was the second accident that ship had?
We will have
No
conspiracy
way.
theories.
Yeah.
If we talk too loud about it, we'll have conspiracy theories.
Us.
Oh, yeah.
But,
Oh, come on. Let's get that over.
It was the second time that it happened, and I can't remember where it happened, but it happened...
Same thing?
No, it didn't hit. It didn't hit the pier. So what happened in this case is the ship hit one of the support piers, and the whole thing just collapsed.
yeah, now I saw the video, and my question was, what the hell is with that bridge that you hit one support? I can understand why a big ship hitting a support would knock out the support and any of the parts of the bridge that ended that support, but shouldn't it have stopped at the next support?
Dude,
So it's a
the
fucking
bridge is...
dead
So
game.
first of all, that ship holds 10,000 containers, and it was full.
Yeah.
Right? So it weighs a shit ton. It displaces a lot. And so if it's moving at speed, right, and it doesn't have power, so it can't slow down, it can't reverse thrust, right, it's going to hit that thing really hard. And you know how, like, since Obama, they've been talking about, like, we need to fix our infrastructure?
Yeah, that bridge
That's
was
why.
that bridge was old
Yeah,
and fragile. But okay, but
I
what
would
happens
think
is...
the design would have at least stopped it at the next support.
Now, here's what happened, all
The
right?
whole bridge fell down.
When the boat hit that support, the force of that boat didn't stay just in that support. It spread out through the whole bridge because it's all connected. It's like a reverberation, all right?
Right,
It
but
was hard enough that it spread out through the whole thing.
I just don't understand. It seems like what's the point of the support if not to stop that exact spread?
I think 60 years ago it may have.
I think the container ships have gotten much bigger.
Also, it makes you not want to drive over a bridge anymore, right? I mean,
Well, remember it happened in Minneapolis about 10, 15 years ago. Same kind of
our
thing
infrastructure is shit, man.
And-
Look at some of the places here in Chicago. Have you ever looked closely at some of the bridges in Chicago? Yeah, it makes you not want to drive over those fucking
The
things,
other
man.
thing too, which is kind of interesting, actually, it's going to sound crazy, but I watched a documentary on concrete, which is yeah, I know, right?
You're doing
But
all
it was
right?
really
Are you doing all right,
yeah,
buddy?
It was really interesting because
How long was that?
it was an hour. They were talking about like Roman concrete and why it was so good, and like
we
like
were just talking about that with the
you had like like
Nerd
the
alert.
Hagia Sophia, which has been through like 12 earthquakes and still there, right? But
No, it's protected
but
by God, though.
Modern concrete, when you get it wet, over time it weakens. And
Why don't we use the Roman method?
Because we couldn't figure it out.
They can't figure it out.
Actually, they did. They did figure it out. There's a volcanic ash that the Romans added to it. It's like a sand kind of thing.
In the blood
It
of
only comes from,
gladiators.
it only comes from like one place in Italy, like near, I think it's like near Vesuvius or something like that.
Pompeii. There's plenty of it in Pompeii.
But there's tons of it. There's tons of it, and so you just add a little bit to the concrete, and the more,
Like a hand or an
the
arm.
wetter it gets, the stronger it
It
gets.
re-hardens or something. Which makes a certain amount of sense, you know. I mean, because
It's called Viagra concrete.
as an avid This Old House watcher, they do talk about how putting in sidewalks, and they don't use concrete, they use sand, because once the sand hardens and then it continues to get wet, it continues to
Yeah, they have a
hard.
special name for it. We just had a patio built last year, and they use this kind of sand to put between the bricks, and it just, it
Yeah.
gets wet, and then
And whenever it rains, it just re-hardens.
There's a this is a callback to pranks. There's a chemical, however, that you can add to a concrete mix that'll make it never harden, and you don't need a lot of it. And I know this because like 35 years ago, when I was an apprentice for the plumbers union, and somebody was pouring a deck off on the off-site from the place they're working at, and the guy had pissed somebody off. He had pissed somebody off, and that dude that he pissed off just kind of went over there and was like hanging out and talking to the crew and everything, and he just took this little vial of something and poured it in the concrete when no one was looking, and that concrete would not harden. It never hardened. It would get thick and weird, but it never was useful, and they had to spend tons of money to have it removed and redone, and I don't know what that was.
Do you think that this bridge falling is going to have any effect on anything? I mean, we just passed a $1.2 trillion infrastructure.
Well, I mean, the people on that on both sides of the bridge depended on that bridge for commerce.
yeah, I think
So that's a huge problem.
I think you're going to find that it's going to be harder from a political standpoint, it's going to be harder for Republicans to block funding for infrastructure. They're not going to be able to say, "Oh, well, spending." and stuff
I
like
mean,
that.
I wasn't really thinking of political, although
Yeah.
the Republicans never block. They always want infrastructure spending. It's just usually they object to other stuff being added onto it. But I think both sides of the political aisle want infrastructure spending. It's just the way the politicians do the bills these days.
Who wins? It's just a matter of who gets the win.
Yeah.
I think that the people whatever county that is in, whatever city that's in, I think they're going to get everything they need to rebuild that bridge, and it's
that's
going to be
a
a beautiful
federal-
and wonderful bridge, and it's going to be named after somebody. And it's going to be great.
But that's
what's
a
going to happen.
federal problem too. It's not a state bridge. It's an interstate. That's an interstate. So,
Yeah.
so it's a federal. It's not like. I mean, I don't think in political terms, I don't think it's going to be a big deal because it's such a freak accident. I mean, a bridge.
Yeah, nobody wants to be the guy
Unless-
that says no on
Unless
that one.
I don't know how they move these
Right.
ships. Unless somebody waived the ship.
I feel like
that
you guys
guy
just
might
made a
get in trouble.
decision.
Well, put it this way: Lloyd's is going to take a big hit.
Lloyd's.
Lloyd's of London.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I should talk to Siobhan. She's a lawyer for those
They
guys.
Yeah.
insure the bridge.
No, they insure the boats.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so there's going to be that. Well, yeah, thank God it happened at, 4 o'clock in the morning or something like that. 'Cause
Well, there was still some people on the bridge.
20 people,
There,
yeah,
there
they
were
said.
6 people that are.
But
still
during
in
rush hour, can you imagine if it was rush hour? Jeez.
My question is this, and I think it's a serious question. I want you guys to take me seriously for once, all right? Where was Mothman? All right? Where was
My
Mothman?
wife loves that movie.
It's the only movie that's ever scared me, man. It's the only story. I read the book before I even knew there would be a movie. And I don't stuff like that I completely disregard. But that story fucked with me pretty bad, man. Yeah.
The Mothman prophecies.
So here's why. And I was going to go a totally different direction just now because I wanted to actually talk about what's the dumbest documentary you've ever watched. But now I want to talk about Mothman. Go ahead.
I was going to say, it just makes it harder to take it seriously when you say, yeah, really want you to take it seriously, and then you bring up Mothman.
Well, yeah, well, I knew that. That was the joke. I'm a huge skeptic, right? My kids hate it. My kids are like, why don't you believe in ghosts? Why don't you believe in Bigfoot? All this stuff. I'm like, because it's not real and it's fucking stupid. And they're like, yeah, but yet. I'm like, all right, think about this. What is the purpose of those things, right? What is their purpose? Everything in the world evolves into a niche where it fulfills a purpose. And it is connected. Those things don't have a purpose. Why would they exist? Why would nature allow those things to exist? You know, and so my skepticism is based on the fact that ultimately what I really want is I would love for that stuff to be true. I would love for it to be true, but I've set my standards at an absolute level because I don't ever want to be a person who's deluded, right? If I ever run into a ghost, I want it to be so perfectly provable that it's not that nobody can go, yeah, sure, Garlington,
I have
whatever.
ghost experience.
Oh, here we go. All right, just hold on to that thought for a minute, all right? So when it comes to like, aliens and angels and occult shit and all this stuff, the thing for me is if it has to be absurd because it is an alien experience. So it has to be absurd. It can't be normal. So an alien can't come down and sit in a board meeting. That's ridiculous, all right? Something like that is just stupid. It would never... A creature or an alien or whatever you want to call it can't, by definition, do anything that is remotely human. It doesn't make any sense. They can't communicate properly, according to us. They can't do anything that would make any sense to us because they are not anything like us. So, for instance, with aliens, the only alien story that I think ever makes any I've ever believed is the one from Sweden where these guys landed in a dude's backyard and they came up and they offered him pancakes. To me, that is potentially real because it's so absolutely, utterly absurd. And here it is, a species trying to communicate by doing something that they've observed other people do. And they're like, maybe this will work, With the Mothman thing, the thing that drove me crazy and bothered me was the absolute wackiness of it. The way this being tried so many different ways to communicate, and all of them were utterly bizarre, and none of them made any sense from a human point of view. They were literally alien. For some reason, there's something about that
I never paid attention, so I don't really know. I can't speak, I can't argue with that because I don't know.
The book is intense, man. I'll say that.
It reminds me of the.
I'm explaining myself poorly.
It reminds me from a line from the second episode of Three Body Problem, which I just watched, where it says, "If science can't explain something, then either you don't understand the science or it doesn't exist."
Yeah, I mean, I'm down for that, man. I love. I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but I love the scene in there where the Chinese girl, finally gets the message, right? And I'm assuming it's an alien because this is the only episode that I've watched up to. All right,
The second one.
I guess, yeah. And they say, don't answer because we'll come and fuck everything up. And she's pissed off about life. And she goes, go ahead and come.
Yeah.
I'll help you.
I'll help you.
That to me,
We can't save ourselves.
that's very authentic to me. So,
Yeah,
all
wasn't
right.
it Bram Stoker who said something like, magic is just technology that's insufficiently understood?
I thought that was Ray Bradbury.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Ray Bradbury, right?
Well, Arthur Clarke said.
I think it was,
Arthur Clarke said magic.
Any sufficiently advanced organization,
technology
will
should be
appear as magic.
indistinguishable from magic.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think these things do exist. I don't think that we understand them yet.
Look how hard it is for us to communicate with each other, all right? But even here on our own planet, we're just now beginning to be able to recognize that other species actually have language, much less be able to communicate with them. But there's been advancement recently that is near magical. They are beginning to understand whale song. That's intense. They're beginning to parse the grammar in whale song, and there's now a website where you can go and type in a message and they will play it to whales. Now, that might be a scam. I don't know. I haven't looked into it yet. But I don't think that we can confidently say that we're ever going to communicate with an alien species until we can have a conversation with an octopus.
Well, you can have conversations with your dog.
No, an actual conversation.
Well,
Like,
can
where
do
you
it with
understand them.
Primates that can, like gorillas know sign
Well,
language.
Coco, that was pretty intense. And you know what really struck me with that? This is another conversation, and this is the one we've had in Lodge that became heated. Was what is an indication of sentience, right?
Oh, yeah.
And we brought up Coco the gorilla who could use sign language. Somebody goes, but that's not an indication of sentience. That's an indication of mimicry. And I said, yeah, but she made up a joke. And that is an indication of sentience right there, is when they make up a joke. And you know who else made up a joke? A fucking octopus.
How do you know?
There are two books out right now that talk about these things, and one of them is called maybe it's My Life with an Octopus, something like that. And they describe, and there's a video of it. They describe this octopus basically pranking the person who monitored them. I mean, that's big. That's a big deal.
Yeah, they're super intelligent.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, monkeys laugh, rats laugh. If you tickle a rat, it laughs. That's not like a that's not me exaggerating. Like that's a measurable thing you can see, And if rats, they observe animals like they observe cows being kind to other animals. It's not something that's strictly just reactionary or quid pro quo stuff the way people used to think that animals are. It's an animal actually being conscious about another animal. When you see a cow come over and turn over a turtle that's laying on his back, that's an interesting choice for a cow to do. All right? It's not just being curious, because curious it would be sniffing it. No, it took the time to actually turn because it understood that animal was suffering. Well, that's a hell of a step for an animal. And but what it really is a hell of a step for a human being to finally recognize that animals have, of course, always been that way. It's a pretty good argument for veganism, man.
If you can make that leap, you can make the leap that the plants feel pain.
Oh well, let me.
There's some evidence of that.
Yes, so let me introduce you to The Secret Life of Plants.
So then let's not eat anything ever.
Well, I mean, that's one way to look at it. There's a book called The Secret Life of Plants. I highly recommend it. It's not named after the album by Stevie Wonder. He named his album after this book.
It was, oh God, the guy who plays the flute.
Ian Anderson?
Ian Anderson, Secret Life of Birds.
I don't know.
Is that what you're thinking of?
Hey Siri, what's the album by Stevie Wonder called The Secret Life of Plants?
There's no.
Journey Through the Secret Life of Plants by Stevie Wonder. There's a book by a similar title, and it's about all the science where they tested plants to find out if they had any kind of cognitive abilities. It turns out they have way more than you think they do. They recently scientists have discovered that trees communicate through mycological connections underground, and that there's an actual grammar associated with it. That's a lot of fucking things to think about right there.
But an argument against veganism would be animals eat other animals.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not arguing for veganism. I'm just saying it would be a pretty good argument for veganism.
We can eat swans. They're vicious.
Fuck swans. They probably taste terrible, though.
Probably.
Fucking swans.
All white meat. All right. Well, we're at it. We're over an hour.
Are you kidding me?
No.
I feel like we're just getting started right there.
Tell my ghost story.
All right, tell your ghost story, and we're gonna go out, man.
All right.
Go out on a ghost story.
So I was house sitting for my girlfriend who had 2 cats, and she had to go for a week to visit family and stuff. And so I'm in her house, and I'm in the upstairs, and there's a upstairs is sort of dormered out, and so there's a door that gets you into the eaves along the roof line, and we always keep the door closed. And so, one day I come home and the door's open, and there's no way that door could be open. There's no way the cats could reach the latch. And so I'm like, well, that's weird, And so I close the door, latch it back up. In the middle of the night, I hear an old woman saying, "Quit it! Stop! Quit it!" And I thought there was someone outside the window, like the bedroom window. So I go to the bedroom window. I look. There's no one there. And I'm like, okay, that's really weird. I mean, I heard it distinctly. I was like ready to call the cops because I thought she was, someone was being assaulted. So happened again, right? I go downstairs to just check the place out. I come back up, the door's open again. And so I'm like, okay, this is really weird. So the next day she came back and I told her about this. And she's like, yeah, there's been some really weird shit like going on in that area. So I was like, so I went to the public library and I started looking through microfilm, and I was looking for that particular address, and I found out.
You are a documentary.
Yeah. And I found out, like it's the microfilms, that in the 1930s, a woman had died suddenly in the basement, and I can't remember if she was murdered or not, but she died in the basement and was found, weeks later or something like that. And so I went back and I told her, I said, this is what I found out.
Then she immediately broke up with you, right?
And she moved.
No. So we hired this Ghostbuster. this guy, shit you not, there was a guy. So I knew there was an occult shop in Rogers Park called Isis Rising.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
You're still there?
No, they're long gone. And I knew the owner, and I went to the owner and I said, I think we have a ghost in the house, and do you know anybody that like could figure this out? And she's like, oh yeah. And she gives me the name of this guy, Brock Elkhorn, who's like a Native American like shaman type dude.
Brock.
And we didn't tell him anything. We just said that there's a disturbance in the house. Could you come check it out? Right? And he comes in, and he's like, it's funny. He looked like kind of a cross between like an Indian occultist and a hipster. Like and he comes in, and he kind of like he starts kind of looking around the house, and goes upstairs. And he's like, and he goes downstairs. He goes into the basement, comes back up. He says, well, there's a middle-aged woman who is here, and she died suddenly, and she doesn't know how to get out. She doesn't know how to leave. And so, with your permission, I'm gonna show her how to leave. And so he does this like ritual, and like he chants something in whatever tribal language he speaks, and like did this like sage ritual where he like cleansed the corners of the house and stuff like that. But he knew exactly. He pointed to the spot where she.
All right, I have questions.
Right? And then he said she's gone now, and she thanks you, and nothing ever happened again.
I have questions.
Okay,
All right. My first question is, how long between the time that you got his name and until he came to the house?
I don't remember, but it was probably about a week, maybe.
You think he has a library card?
I don't think. Yeah, I don't. We didn't tell him anything.
I had to tell him where the house was.
Yeah, but do you do that when you? Do you like go and do
I would if I was
extensive
a
micro?
Ghostbuster.
I mean, if I wanted to convince somebody, sorry, I don't mean to be a dick about it, but if I wanted to convince somebody about it, I would look it up. The second question is, where exactly did your girlfriend vacation? I mean, was she kind of an eaves kind of person? I mean, did she just take a quiet nap in the eaves, going in and out that door?
No,
maybe.
no. She was out of town.
And the only other thing is, did you when the guy came and said, "Oh, there's a ghost and she doesn't understand how to get out, so I'm gonna help her get out"? Was there a conversation where you said, maybe no, as long as we know she's okay, leave her here.
I mean, it raises the value of the house. Slightly, why is he chanting in another language? I mean, was she Native American? Was she just standing there in ghost form going, I don't know what he's saying?
It reminds me though of the sage thing. It reminds me of that television show Ghost. Have you ever seen it? I've only seen a few episodes.
I've seen the British version of it, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, the American first couple episodes, the American version is pretty funny too. It's silly, but
It's silly, but it's a good
there's one
wholesome
scene-
silly.
There's one scene where she comes in and does sage, and she's walking around with the sage, and the ghosts are following her, going, "Oh, that smells really nice."
This is lovely. All right, close us out, man.
All right. So thank you for joining. Don't forget, Jeremiah Creek, hit the subscribe button. If you're on Beat Cops Guide on the YouTube channel, we're merging over to Jeremiah Creek, so switch over to Jeremiah Creek and subscribe again. And also, thank you for joining us, and we'll be back next week.
I got to design us some shirts.